Okay, so I'm Daniel, and I'm going to give examples of historical events that could be connected to literature of the period, whether related to social or natural science. So, firstly, during this time, the 17th century, religion and state were very, very tightly intervened. This is very important to have in mind when discussing the literature. Wars originating from this were very common. Such a war was the 30 Years' War. It was basically a huge war lasting for 30 years, as you might suspect, between Catholics and Protestants. How may that have affected literature? Well, aside from the fact that a lot of literature then in one way or another had to do with religion, because of the huge part or the huge importance that had for the lifestyle of the time, silly wars like the 30-Year War was also gave rise to satires and literature like Gulliver's Travels, criticizing the society. But that came later, though, during the 18th century mostly. Because of this entanglement of state and religion, how far one could rise in the career ladder was in that sense very much dependent on one's ethnicity or religion. A good example depicting this was John Donne's conversion from Roman Catholicism to the Anglican Church at the age of 43 in 1615. His popular work, The Holy Sonnet, a series of 16 poems written during this very turbulent time of his life, can be seen as reflecting some of his economical, emotional, and religious anxieties. The poems weren't published during his lifetime, but were widely circulated as manuscripts. I'm now going to talk about the connection to scientific and geographical discoveries of the time. Many of the works of the metaphysical poets relies on extensive imagery and conceits with references to fashionable scientific and geographical discoveries. John Donne's poem The Good Morrow is a good example of a poem where such referencing are vital parts of the conceit governing it. This poem is about waking up into a new morning after a sex night into true love. Remember when you upgraded your banged up flip-top Sony Ericsson cell to a gleaming smartphone and your entire life changed? After playing your 351st game of Angry Birds and checking out Spotify, you probably thought for yourself, oh my god, how did I ever live without this before? Well, John Donne never owned a smartphone, but in his poem The Good Morrow, it's bursting with the same kind of wonder and awe for the new. In this particular poem, he uses references to major geographical discoveries of the time to describe how the lovers hardly can remember what life was before they fell in love with each other. Thereby, the poem is comparing the excitement of exploring new lands to lying in bed and exploring a new love. Why conquer a continent when you've got the whole new world just in your bedroom? With that, I think we would like to thank you for listening, and we hope you found it interesting. Bye bye.